Cape Cod, one of a kind. In the northern Atlantic, a small peninsula sticks out into the ocean. This peninsula is known as Cape Cod.
In the summer of 1926, 38-year-old Henry Bestion intended to spend just 2 weeks at a small vacation cottage overlooking the Atlantic Ocean on scenic Cape Cod. However, Mr. Bestion was so infatuated with Cape Cod's natural beauty, he ended up spending 1 year in the small cottage. He documented his experiences in a book that would later become called The Outermost House. Over the course of the year, Bestion was visited frequently by the United States Coast Guard and made many friends in the town of Orleans. Henry primarily described the beaches, the dunes, and the birds.
However, over half a century earlier, another man made a historic visit to the dunes of the Cape. Henry David Thoreau made his visits in October of 1849, then in June of 1850, and another in July of 1855. In all, Thoreau spent a total of 3 weeks exploring the beaches of the Cape, taking notes and putting together a book that would simply be called Cape Cod. In his book, Thoreau describes the wild animals' intense beauty.
The 3 great elemental sounds in nature are the sounds of rain, the sounds of wind in a primeval wood, and the sound of the outer ocean on a beach. I have heard them all, and of the 3 elemental voices, that of the ocean is the most awesome, beautiful, and varied. Henry Bestion.
23,000 years ago, a massive glacier covered what is now Cape Cod. Up until about 3,500 years ago, the glacier receded and then came back several times and shaped Cape Cod as the arm of Massachusetts. The receding glacier left massive chunks of ice that melted and formed Cape Cod's many kettle ponds. Also, massive boulders were left behind. The largest one is known as Dome Rock in Eastham. Cape Cod has been identified as a peninsula as well as a large sandbar.
The fact that Cape Cod is a massive sandbar, it was quite difficult for plants to grow. One of the many ways people began to grow plants was to dig holes in the sand, replace the holes with good soil, and then plant those seeds. Over time, Cape Cod became home to an extremely wide variety of plants and animals.
The seashore is a sort of neutral ground, a most advantageous point from which to contemplate this world. Henry David Thoreau.
The Cape is home to many salt marshes and can be found along both sides of the Cape. A salt marsh is an ecosystem that serves as a home to many plants that are able to survive in salt water. These unique landforms are found along large bodies of salt water and become flooded during the high tides.
The world today is sick to its thin blood for lack of elemental things, for fire before the hands, for water welling from the earth, for air, for the dear earth itself and before it. In my world of beach and dune, these elemental presences lived and had their being. Henry Bestion.
One of the most important agricultural triumphs we have here on Cape Cod is the growth and distribution of cranberries. Cape's many cranberry bogs supply the delicious berries that make the jams and sauces Cape Cod is famous for.
Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Ralph Waldo Emerson.